brothers and sisters in Christ. Today the Holy Church celebrates the commemoration of St. Andrew, the first called apostle. We congratulate Subdeacon Andrew and his family on his name's day today. We have other Andrews in the parish, none of whom are named after this saint. So I'm not forgetting them, but there are other Andrews, just as in most cases, almost every saint has multiple names that are commemorated in that way. John, I think, being the one with the most. Last time I looked, there was 23, but maybe that was before Bodhika John, so maybe now there's 24 different saints with that name. Today we hear a really interesting gospel, and I think that there is a temptation to overlook that, to not really listen to it very much at all. It's just another miracle. You know, by this time we're kind of like miracle, 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 which is, of course, wrong on our part. That is not the way that we should be looking at that. But nonetheless, we should take at least a little look there, because I think there's something really important for us to learn. First, this woman for 18 years was suffering. 18 years. Can you imagine how long it is? I'm looking around now. I would say that the majority, no, maybe like 35, 40% of the people in the parish standing here right now haven't even reached to 18 years. And probably another half of the rest are just barely past that. So 18 years, that's a long time. If I go back 18 years, I'm almost a young man again. So that's a while. That long she is suffering from this illness, which for whatever reason, some kind of scoliosis or something, she was hunched over, so she had to walk on 4 legs, just like Igor, actually, just in time. He is doing it perfectly. She had to walk and crawl around like a child. She couldn't stand upright. That was a really big problem for her. She was really an outcast in society. And here, the Lord heals her. But there is a twist to this. It's not just the healing of someone who is lame, who is suffering, who has faith, who is seeking a cure. This is something that happened on the Sabbath day. And therefore, the Jews were insulted that the Lord healed on the Sabbath day. This, I think, is something really interesting. Not that he didn't do it before, not that he didn't do it again. But in our society, in our world now, what is right and what is wrong is not being set by the church by any means. It's being set on a very secular level. And the sort of highest good seems to be not to insult anyone. Not to make anyone feel bad, at least not feel bad. And so, really here, we see this is something, if you look at this with secular eyes, completely intolerant, what the Lord is doing today. Absolutely intolerant. Now, we have to decide, are we going to look at the world through the eyes of Christ? Are we going to be Christ-centered? As Christians, you might think that that would be our plan, but in any case, are we going to be Christ-centered, or are we going to let those who are outside the faith, who are maybe not even believers in anything, set the way that we look at the world? And this is really important to us, brothers and sisters, because, you know, probably the most important theological journal that exists today is Facebook. And you can find some really interesting theological things on Facebook. Not that any of it is right, but that's where people kind of look for their theological basis. And there you will find that hard and fast rule. You can't make anybody feel bad. Now, the church does not seek to make people feel bad. Let's be very clear about this. I saw something interesting today, or not today, this week. Probably it was on Facebook too. You know, at a lot of Protestant churches, they have the sign outside and then they have something written underneath it. And usually it's some cute twist on a Bible saying, which is probably not really that great. But this one was really interesting. And it said there, if your religion makes you hate others, you're doing it wrong. I think that's a pretty good way for us as Orthodox Christians to understand how we are to look at the world. You see, Christ did not come to say to everybody, you're right, you don't have to change. Just stay as you are. In fact, do whatever you want. Why would he come to earth for that? That's a complete waste of his time. It's a waste of our time. God came to earth to call us to a higher place, to challenge us, to call us to be, as we've talked about many times, God became man so that man could become God. I mean, we are not called to just kind of not hurt anybody's feelings. That is not the highest calling of an Orthodox Christian. That being said, we're not supposed to seek out to hurt people either. That's not it at all. But I think the metaphor that works the best, at least for me, is the miracle medicine metaphor. Okay, so here we have a friend or a loved one who is suffering from some great ailment. Well, let's say addiction, because we have a problem also with addiction in our society. We like to blame addicts. So let's say that this person is suffering from addiction, right? You can help them to save their lives. You can help them to live a better life. You have that miracle medicine in your hand. It doesn't exist, unfortunately, but let's just say that it did. You can give it or not. So, if you say to that person, I love you, but being an addict, that's not a good way to live your life. Here, take this miracle medicine because I love you. You might hurt their feelings. They might say, you know what, I'm insulted that you called me an addict. I don't think that I am, even if they are. And for that, we will say, you know what, I'll take that. I'll do it. It's okay, I don't mind if I hurt that person's feelings a little bit. But in the realm of spirituality, we refuse to go there. And this is something we really have to challenge ourselves with. We don't have to accost people. We don't have to say to people, you know, you're wrong, even if they are. But boy, oh boy, if somebody comes to us and says to us, you know, I'm a worshiper of, you know, sheep. And would it be better for me to be a Christian? And if you're thinking, boy, I'll hurt their feelings if I say that they should be a Christian, so I'll tell them that they can worship their sheep. People, wake up. There is right and there is wrong. Now we can deliver the answer in two very separate ways. You're an evil, horrible person for worshiping sheep and you will go to hell if you don't change. Or, please, come join us. Christ came to perfect everything that came before him. He came to share love. He came to give us that medicine for the greatest sickness that exists, which is death. You see, brothers and sisters, when it comes to a medicine, we don't have any problem saying, you know what, here, take it. Take it. Even if I might hurt your feelings a little bit, take it. But somehow, we refuse when somebody is, especially somebody we, even if not especially somebody we love. Somebody we love, we're usually willing to talk to them. But if it's somebody else, we don't want to do it. We want to say, you're okay, it's good, do whatever you want, doesn't matter. It does matter. It does. People can save their souls, or people can ruin their souls. But we can ruin our souls by trying to help people save their souls if we don't do it with love. You see what I'm saying? There's right and wrong. But if you go around or you go out to the diag, you'll have to make a space for yourself because there's many people out in the middle of the church, middle of the diag, screaming at people, you know you're going to hell, going to hell, going to hell. This is not what the church does. This is not how we teach. This is not how we share Christ's love. But we also don't share Christ's love by saying, do whatever you want, it's okay, doesn't matter. That is not why Christ came, brothers and sisters. So, we are being called to spiritually chew gum and walk at this backwards at the same time. That's not always easy. But if love can be our underlying movement, if love can be the reason that we do these things, if love can be how we answer someone who asks us, am I okay worshiping whatever trees? Just make up whatever you want. Then we will answer with love. We will attract with love. But we will not attract anyone to Christ if we have this sort of evangelization, if we are evangelists of do whatever you want, whatever feels good. Christ called people to a higher plane, brothers and sisters. So what does this have to do with today's gospel again? Because it seems like I've gone off on a great tangent here. Christ came to show that there was a new law of love. A new law, which means the old law passes away. And no newer law replaces it. This is it, what Christ brought. And so sometimes he healed on the Sabbath. Not because he wanted to hurt somebody's feelings, but because he wanted the Jews to see that the old law is passing away, and the new law is now here. If you read a little farther past the healing in today's gospel, you see where they accuse him. And he says, look, you're a hypocrites. Again, that probably hurt their feelings, but he needed to hear what was to be said. Why? Because they will go take their horse or their donkey during the Sabbath day when they're not supposed to work. They will give it water. What if an animal falls in a hole? They will pull it out. But they didn't want him to heal on the Sabbath day. So this is not the church saying, Jews are bad, Jews are evil, hate Jews. No. If we hate Jews, what about Christ? He was a Jew. Brothers and sisters, the Lord came to call us to a higher way of living. It's up to us to ask his help and to struggle to get there. But I'm going to submit to you that the sort of overarching thing that is happening in our society, where we're not willing to say anything to anybody, no matter what kind of crazy things that they are doing to hurt their souls, that is not why Christ came. Christ came to call all, every person, no matter what their temptation, no matter what their sin, every person to the heavenly kingdom. Let's not bar them from that by being a bad witness to Christ. If the time comes, and it will, when we are asked, is this okay in the eyes of the church? If you don't know, say, I'll find out. If you do know, don't lie. And if we can tell people the truth with love, then that church will be way too small. This one, of course, will be way too small. Many more churches will be way too small because people are searching. They're looking for something authentic. If they ask for it, give it. And if we do that, brothers and sisters, then we will be like St. Andrew, the great apostle, who traveled all over the world to bring Christ to people. When we have our chance, let's take it. Let's share the love of Christ that he has freely given to us. And let's share it in truth. And if we do that, brothers and sisters, then more and more and more people will find what they are seeking. They are seeking the heavenly kingdom. And may the Lord grant this to us as well. Amen.
Pray for the salvation of your Russian land, and the government is unto us people, peace and mercy.